Thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. Some of you I've probably spoken to before, but to those who haven't met me, I'll give a quick introduction. So my name is Joonas, and I help with onboarding, account management, customer support, and anything else related to clients at Parim. I also have with me today Holly, who has joined our team earlier this year as an account manager. If Holly wants to introduce herself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jonas. So some of you may have already met me. I'm an account manager here at Parim, and my role is to help our customers get the most out of Parim and act as the main point of contact between our customers, so you folks, and our development team.
Thank you, Holly. We have had quite a busy year at Parim, and this is the first webinar we're doing in 2026. So Holly and myself will be covering the features we've released since the start of the year. And we also have Kauri here, who you know from our customer support, and he will be answering the questions you have in the chat, so you can ask these throughout the presentation. Then after we have gone over the features already released, we will make sure all the questions you have in the chat have been answered. And at the end of the webinar, we'll also give a sneak peek of what's coming out next, which we're very excited about. Finally, the recording of the webinar, along with some additional resources, will be sent out to everyone afterwards. So you will be able to share it with your colleagues who couldn't join today, or if you just want to rewatch some of the information yourself. So before we dive into the features, I'll just give a bit of background as well. So in 2025, our engineering and product teams were working on rebuilding the backend of Parim with the main goal of making any future developments basically easier to implement and just give ourselves a chance to build more features and to just improve the general performance of the platform. So this work was completed by the start of this year, and our aim in 2026 has been to release features that mainly would help our clients with compliance and automation. So that's where our focus really is right now. But at the moment, then let's have a look at some of these features. So first, in February, we released the SIA badge checker. And this is relevant for the companies operating in the UK security sector, as it is mandatory, of course, for any security operatives to have a valid SIA license. Now, up until this year, Parim already helped companies to keep track of expiry dates of any staff qualifications that you've entered, such as the SIA license. However, it wasn't possible to know if a staff member's SIA license was revoked prematurely for some reason, which can happen sometimes. And of course, it's very important for you to be aware of that before you actually send someone out to a shift. So it is possible now to have an overview of that. And how it works. So if enabled, the SIA badge checker will take all the SIA license qualifications you have entered in your Parim environment, and it checks them against the official SIA database once per day. So if a license has been marked as invalid by SIA, or the information about it cannot be retrieved from the database for some reason, then it will be listed for further review, and that list will be sent to your operations email address once per day. That will then help you action the potentially problematic licenses. One thing to note here is that sometimes the check for the license might fail due to technical reasons as well. So maybe when we're running to check against the database, for whatever reason, we don't get a response. In that case, we will still list that license in the email, just so you could kind of double check. But it means that if a license is listed there, it doesn't automatically mean that it's invalid and that person cannot do work anymore. So you should always double check that. Additionally, the SIA badge checker will not check the licenses that have already expired. So it only checks the ones that are supposed to be valid right now. And the licenses that have already expired, those are listed on your environment's dashboard page. Now, I'll just show a bit here as well. We do have a help article going over this feature as well. We will include it in the follow-up email that we'll send afterwards with the recording. But just to quickly jump to this. So in our help center, we have an SIA badge checker article. Basically, it explains what the feature does, what it doesn't do. So here's a screenshot, for example, showing how you keep track of expired licenses, which already exist in the system. Then it explains what does the email notification look like? So roughly something like this. And the email also shows how many licenses were checked. So if it shows 0, it means that probably something is not configured correctly, and actually it's not, checking for any licenses. So in that case, you can always just let us know. We can have a look together at what it could be. Then there are the setup instructions, how to do it correctly so it would behave correctly. And then at the end of the help article, there's some FAQ, basically, just common asked questions. Now, finally, to access this feature, you have to be on the premium subscription plan, and you have to be in an annual agreement with us. So for more information on that, feel free to just contact our customer support. You can do that from the bottom right corner of your Parim environment. It looks something like this here in the corner. Yes, Holly, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can also email me directly as well if you'd like to discuss going onto the annual plan and adding that. It saves a lot of time. Yeah, some of our customers absolutely love it. Going from, doing hours and hours of manual cell checking every day to just one email a day. So yeah, do let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can email Holly directly, you can email me as well. So if you're interested in this, and yeah, as Holly said, this can be very helpful in just having that peace of mind, basically, that you are actually compliant when sending cards out. Just let us know and let's discuss. But okay, moving on to the next feature then. So Xero and QuickBooks integration. So this was something that a lot of clients had asked for as well. These are both very popular invoicing softwares used by our clients. So in April, we released these invoicing integrations. And so far, before this, how you normally did your invoicing in Parim is that you went to revenue summary or invoicing report, you exported the data as a CSV file, and then you maybe formatted it on your computer so it would be suitable for your invoicing software, and then you imported it there. So now this should automate those steps and just make it a bit more seamless for you. I'll show a quick demo of how it works in one of our testing environments. And the Xero invoicing software, however, it works basically the same way in QuickBooks with a few minor differences, and we will outline the exact steps you need to take in either of those softwares to basically set this up. So we'll share that also with you afterwards. But right now then, I'll jump into my Parim demo environment here. Hopefully the zoom level is fine. You can all see this nicely. So the first thing is that you, yes, sorry, Holly?
I was just saying we can see your screen. Just
okay, great, thank you.
No one else.
So when you're in the environment, in the top right corner, you have the integrations button. You click on that, and you can see other integrations that we have as well. But under accounting and HRIS apps, you will find both QuickBooks and Xero integrations. Now, you can have only one activated at a time, and I would imagine you use only one invoicing software at a time anyway. But if you ever, let's say, change providers or something, you can always just disable the current integration and then enable another one as well. Now, after this is enabled, what will change in your environment is that you will have some new options under pay and charge and invoicing report. So when you come to this page, there's a new column saying accounting actions, and you will see some buttons here, send data and edit. If you haven't yet connected your clients in Parim to your clients in Xero during integration, it will just say connect client here. So during the integration process, it will basically just say Everhaven Market in Parim, which client is it in your Xero? And it will list all the clients it finds in your Xero. So you just choose Everhaven Market, and that's it. That's done for that client. Now, in the invoicing report, you can use different grouping options. The one that we recommend to use initially is if you group by client. So you will see how many shifts you did during the given period for a specific client. And I see an option, resend and send data. So resend, because this is a testing environment, I've already sent this data. However, I can send it again. So if I send the data again, it will just create a new invoice with that same data. So we can try that. So if I click on resend, it opens a sidebar. And initially, it shows no grouping here. So it shows all the shifts for this client done during this period. So if this is how I want the invoice to look in Xero, every shift on its own separate row, then I can just click on send data and it's done. However, I could also choose that I want to group it first by location and let's say then by position as well. So now this is how the invoice will look for the client. So it shows each location and what position was worked. So that's up to you, of course, how you want to do it. But let's say if I remove these groupings right now and just click on send data, it will load for a few seconds, as you can see in the top left corner. And once it's done, it says invoice sent successfully. So now if I jump into my Xero and refresh, then under sales and invoices, I will see the new invoice that was just created. So I can click on it. It was created based on the template I have set up in Xero, so that can be different for you. But it attaches the invoice to the correct client, assigns the correct due date that I've set for this client, and it lists all the shifts here nicely. It shows the hours that were worked, what's the charge rate, and so on. And of course, I can make manual adjustments to this invoice if necessary. But this should, hopefully save a lot of time for you as well. So definitely, feel free to test it out. Now, this feature is available to clients on the premium subscription plan. So all clients on premium subscription plan, because you can only access it through the invoicing report, which is in the premium subscription plan. Again, for more information, feel free to just contact our customer support or myself or Holly, and then we can discuss it further. But at the moment then, I will give it over to Holly so she can continue with the next few features.
Thank you so much, Joonas. Amazing. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So next we have the digital employee ID. We built this a few months ago, and it's actually proved to be one of the most popular features that we've built, which is always nice to see. So what that is a digital card that your team can find in their profile on their app when they're on shift. So it gives every employee a live auto-generated ID card right in the app, and all of the data is pulled straight from their profile. So it's all accurate and their current shift. So, the value of this is you don't have to really use paper ID cards anymore. Good for the environment, better for business. And the good thing about it is that it's always up to date. Here is a kind of screenshot of what it will look like, but this little circle around the person's photo is actually like a moving, a flowing edge, which means that that it's not been screenshotted, for example. So that's what you need to look for, or your client will need to look for when your team member is turning up for their shift. What shows up on the card? So name and the ID photo, profile photo, the employer name, so your company name and your company logo, current shift location, live, on duty or off duty status, and the real date and time. The reason why we built this is because you can then have instant tamper-proof confirmation that the person on site is who they say they are. Obviously, that's incredibly important in security for compliance. Is on shift and that they work for the right company. No manager needed to vouch for them. So no more, last-minute calls from your client saying, who is this person that's just turned up, if they've forgotten their ID card or it's crumpled in a pile in their bag somewhere. So that's the reason we built it. And we're really glad that lots of our customers have taken advantage of this. So just to quickly show you how to turn it on then, very easy. So go to your Parim dashboard, and then you head over to your system settings just by hovering over your initials, system settings. Then on the left-hand side, go to people, click that down, then to general. And here you'll see the two toggles, enable digital employee ID card. So just make sure that's switched on. And there's also an option to add their employee ID on there as well. That's completely up to you. Again, it's not compulsory. Like a lot of Parim's features, we want to give you the choice to be able to add it if it works well for you. So that's the next feature. There is also an incredibly helpful support article about this in the support hub, and we'll send that link over to you in the follow-up after this. Cool. Next, we have, drum roll please, Shift Import. So this is another feature that is available on the premium plan currently. And it will need to be, at the moment, switched on by a Parim representative. So if you are on premium and would like this feature switched on, do let us know. It will soon be available by default, but it's just whilst we finish a bit more work on that feature. It's fairly new. So the reason we've done this. So essentially what it is, it's a bulk CSV upload of shifts, very similar to your, when you're importing all of your employees in one go or in your client list. No more adding shifts one by one. And it also has kind of like guardrails built in with automatic conflict prevention. So it makes sure that everything is where it should be. It also works for both assigned and open shifts. So, this can be really helpful for, say, for example, you have, one big event that's spanning over 5 days and you've got hundreds of shifts that you need to add. Rather than having to add them all one by one, now you can add them all in one go. Incredibly helpful, huge time saver. We've already got loads of good feedback about it. So yeah, just want to share this with everyone else. And yeah, as it goes, nothing broken goes in, because if there's any broken data, it will then notify you via email to let you know that some of the data didn't work, but then the rest was successful. So yeah, just at the moment, only super admins can run an import at the moment, just how we've built it. But just to show you where to get that from. So to find the template, going back into my demo, if you hover over schedule, you should see shift import. So once it's switched on, so schedule, shift import. And here is where you will see the template that you'll need to use. So I'll just download that and show you what that looks like. Cool. So here you'll see all of the columns that are needed. The user email one can be left blank, and that's how it shows you if it's going to be an allocated shift. You just pop in the person's email address. It will then allocate it to their profile. If you leave it blank, it will add as an open shift. So that's completely up to you there. There's built-in validation checks, as I've mentioned. It blocks banned stuff, so kind of no bad data ever makes it onto the schedule. And the kind of value of this is for events or large one-off jobs. This is the difference between an afternoon of manual entry and a 5-minute upload. So that's kind of the rationale behind why we decided to build this feature. There are a couple of good to know things, like the times must land on 15-minute increments. Subcontractors currently can't be imported, and a confirmation email will land with whoever uploaded the file. So it won't be the operations person, it will be whoever uploaded that file. And if you're rerunning a corrected file, then just make sure to clear out the already successful rows, or you'll end up with double duplicate shifts. Again, there's a really good helpful article in the support hub about that, which we will include. But it has some FAQs and some kind of need to knows just before you do that. So very helpful, written by Kauri, who is a product expert as well. So that's shift importing. And then lastly, the last feature I'm going to show you today and tell you a little bit about is our Who's on Shift. Now, this is probably the most recent one that we've launched in this collection that we are telling you about today. This one's funny. It's a little bit like Marmite. Some of our customers love it. Some of our customers not so much. It really depends on, whether it works for you or not. So essentially what this is a simple way for your team to see who else they're working alongside when their shift overlaps. And that's without you having to manage like a separate rota or a WhatsApp group chat. So as mentioned, it does cut both ways. Some staff, it's helpful because they can use it to arrange a car share. It can help with organising transport, as I said, general coordination, or just knowing a familiar face will be there, or just for general awareness about, who they're going to be working with. I can imagine it's probably quite nice if you're at a big event, build morale, get to know people before you start, things like that. But equally, on the other hand, others may use it to, check who they're working with, see that they're not on one of their mates, and cancel their shift. So again, we've had both sides. But again, we made this so you can switch it on or off. It's not compulsory to have it on, so it's completely up to you. And there are a couple of things. So it will show, their name and the shift times, no other kind of personal information. And they'll only see employees whose shifts are already approved and confirmed. They'll need at least 15 minutes of overlap to appear, and it's shown on both open and assigned shifts. And it displays their full name plus the overlapping time window. At the moment, there's no way to turn it off for just some locations. So it's worth being aware of that. It's all or nothing across the environment at the moment. But, as with all of our features and functionalities, we're always looking for feedback. So if that's something that you think would be helpful, or if there's any other, ways that we could improve that feature, do let us know. We do track feature requests and pass that on to our product team. So we're all ears to things like that, and really love receiving your feedback. So that's part of my role. So please feel free to tell me everything, and then we can see what we can do. And yes, just to switch that on again, go over to your demo, to your dashboard, system settings. And this one is actually in time and attendance settings this time. Scroll down, and then you'll see the little toggle here. People can see who else is working at the same time in the same location. When you switch that on, it will then switch that feature on for your team. So yeah, that's that from me. Thanks for your attention. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with some of you in the next few weeks or so. Over to you, Joonas.
Thanks a lot, Holly. Yeah, I think very nice, thorough explanations of the features we've had.